Welcome to the show, where we discuss time-tested and science-supported tools for better health, long life, and pleasures. Once bitten, twice shy. If your past relationship left you traumatized, humiliated, disappointed, bitter, and vulnerable, if it prevents you from reclaiming your life and building a new loving relationship because you are simply afraid of stepping on the same rake twice, then stay on to hear from the expert how you can overcome this problem before you will be able to start a new, more successful chapter of your life. Our guest today is a wonderful Xiomoria Scott, an experienced forensic intervention specialist and a mental health counselor. Welcome to the show, Xiomoria.
Thank you, Lily. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, in your experience, people who had been traumatized, people who had been subject to abuse, how likely for them to start a new chapter of their life?
Well, Lillian, this can really vary depending on, who and what type of trauma we're talking about, right? Do I believe that everybody can bounce back from a traumatic experience? I do, truly do, especially when it's involving a topic like love. I think that there's nothing that can stop us from bouncing back, but it does really depend on the work that we do to be able to bounce back. As far as like what that recovery process will look like, it's really going to depend on, what type of skills that person has in their pockets. And, I'm a counselor myself, so I advocate for counseling. I advocate for, self-healing as well, but just making sure that we're around people that love us, right? And can remind us of that love.
Yes,
So it's
absolutely.
definitely possible.
Understand. But it is not a secret that our past emotional, psychological, and physical traumas form that kind of precautionary automatic response to other people, which is based on our fear of repeating mistakes all over again. In your professional experience, why are we scared of forming a new relationship after the trauma we received? And is it possible to fully eradicate that fear and regain the trust that we lost?
It is. I think it takes that experience of us trying to explore ourselves first, right? So recognizing, being able to identify that trauma, being able to identify the hurt, where it hurts. And there's this book, it's called what is it called? I'm sorry, blanking. It's called The Body Keeps the Score, right? So when people experience trauma, and like you talked about, like trauma can be really, really challenging to get over because of maybe the fear, because of sometimes we're having, the emotional reactions, or we're having the physical reactions in our body. So just being more in tune, I believe, with self and where these instances are coming up, our bodies will tell us if we're ready to go into another situation or not. And we have to become experts at really listening to ourselves and our bodies.
But can this fear of being hurt again, let's say,
Yep.
disappear on its own? And how long does it usually take to recover?
Yeah. I don't think that fear disappears on its own. Alone, I don't think that it will ever disappear. I think there's much work that needs to be done on fear, because it is a fight, flight, or freeze type of response. Either one, depending on how your fear presents in your life, right? So it's really going to depend on you, how you work at that fear, right? Do you do self-help stuff? Are you working on, cognitive behavioral worksheets to be able to change some of that initial thought, right? The initial fears that come up, and being able to change those into positive thoughts versus the fearful thought, right? And that's where I talk about the work is really going to need to be done in order to um come back from something that was traumatizing.
Absolutely. There is common belief um, that you should try before you buy. And people who are rushing into a relationship just to prove that they are worthy of that new relationship, they resort to meeting or dating as many people as possible. And they believe that it can help them find that perfect partner. Is it true? And why dating is not like shopping for clothing? Can we trust our instincts?
I think we can. I'm a real believer of our instinct, right? Our instincts will tell us whether we're ready or not. I remember going into like a little rebellious phase after getting out of a relationship, and it was really traumatic, right? So it was like, why would you pop right back into another one? And I get it. Like sometimes we want to prove to ourselves that we absolutely can do it, right? And then it has the ability to backfire. And then for some people, it's like right what they needed, right? So being able to really work that out with someone, with yourself, spend that time writing in a journal or something to really flesh out those thoughts, because we really do know whether we are ready for a situation or we're not ready for a situation. I wouldn't advocate probably going to another relationship if we're feeling like some parts of ourselves are missing, right? We want to be full, wholehearted when walking into a relationship. We don't want to take the baggage from the next relationship into the newer relationship. So we really want to take a deep dive at that stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. One should fix own problems, own fears before going into new relationship, and that's why dating is not like shopping for clothing, because you have your own luggage, your own baggage, I should say, of emotional and psychological scars that you don't use on somebody new. And whether you trust your instinct or not, um, you should really rely more on experts' opinion about your own state of mind. It is also known that humans, we are creatures of habit. We do the same things and get attracted to a certain type of a person. For this reason, many people prefer to stay single, as they don't know how to change their own pattern and avoid making the same stupid and painful mistake again. How can one make sure that the new partner is not going to be the next mistake? How can we identify a camouflaged abuser or an addict or a person with a disposition to developing that mental issue later?
Yeah. I love this part, right? Because we we have to become creatures of habit of noticing behavior. When we start doing that, and not only someone else's behavior, because it is someone else's behavior that we're looking at, that we tend to look at, right? But our behavior, right? If I've been in a long-term relationship or had been in a long-term relationship that was completely frightening to me, I was dismissed all the time. You know what I mean? I didn't get recognized or didn't get attention for, doing something that I felt like really deserved some attention, right? You start to have some feelings about that. And then our bodies, like I said, the body keeps the score. So our body will tell us we'll started getting these gut feelings, right? Or we'll start feeling some type of choking up or something. The body is going to indicate something, right? And I always say, like, the best indicators we can have for not making those same type of choices we have in the past is paying attention to those behaviors, the behaviors of other people, but not only the behaviors of other people, but our behaviors, right? And when we're in a situation or we get in a situation, how are we feeling? Really checking in with ourselves daily, right? Momentarily. How am I feeling right now? Is this person making me anxious? Am I sweating? What am I doing? Am I stuttering? Like what's happening here? Right? In a safe place, you'll be able to function and be free and, not have to worry about anything. And so if you're in a relationship or starting to get in a new relationship where some of those old patterns are kind of building up, then I would encourage us to look at some of those, whether you have to do it with a professional or whether you do it in self-help. I would definitely say to look at those.
But what are the indicators, the signs that can suggest that the person that you meet has predisposition for these mental issues like jealousy, greed, addiction, those little things, anger, instant change of mood? What are those signs that can tell you, hang on, be careful, there is an underground something there. There's danger.
Yeah. I think and again, this depends on who we're talking to, right? But I think from my personal experience, I start to experience some type of shame, right? As if I did something wrong, without that person even saying anything to me. It's just that they can give me a look, they can give me, or just say something really snappy, and automatically I start to feel that rejection, right? So this is why I said being able to look at our own, what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, will often tell us maybe how that person is treating us, maybe how we're experiencing, right? Because a lot of our stuff when we're in relationships, it's about perception too. My partner may have said something that didn't necessarily mean that they wanted to hurt me, right? But it hurt. And I should be able to express that hurt me. And if I don't, then I'm experiencing some type of shame. I'm experiencing bad mouthing, talking down to, you know what I mean? Like, those type of things, those are the real red flags.
Xiomoria, over 30 years ago, I met a matchmaker from Uzbekistan who told me about her centuries-old technique that helped her and other matchmakers in that region to test potential partners for mental health before, of course, marriage. Well, a printable copy of this method will be located under the description of this video. But are there any tests or methods of provocation that that can help us identify those problems prior to making that kind of relationship solid?
Yeah, I would suggest looking at some and all this stuff is online too. You can do it with a professional, and they can run some tests with you. But I think looking at some personality tests, right? There's a love language test. There is a what is it? So I said personality test. It is. I'm trying to think. I'm blanking right now, but there's all types of tests just online that you can take to see if compatibility, right? Compatibility is a thing.
And it's
so looking
zodiac. We are not talking about zodiac, about
no, not
astrology.
zodiac.
We're talking about characters, compatibility of behavior, likes, dislikes, about
right.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So when looking at that personality stuff, there's personalities. My personality might not mix with your personality, right? But if I get a heads up on that and I see that there's a high rate of people who have my type of personality who don't necessarily get along with your type of personality, then I'm more likely to take that into consideration and saying, hey, this might not be the relationship that I want, especially if this person is already showing signs that we may not be able to be together.
So being just attracted physically is not going to work. Or if you base your attraction on liking somebody else's smell, odor, perfume, or hairstyle, it
Right.
won't work. You need to dig deeper into personality, into person whom you want to partner for life. Um,
Right.
well,
It's definitely worth looking at too. If I could just say, it's worth looking at getting to know a person. I used to think it was a cliche, right? Get to know the person before you get in a relationship and make sure you guys are friends. And I suggest dating a long time before we decide to get married because there's so many things like people change. You know what I mean? Like our personalities are forever changing. The character of people shouldn't be changing, but our personalities over time, as we grow, as different things are happening, we change, right? So there's a thing of seeing your partner in all types of seasons, right? So seeing your partner when that partner is out of work, seeing a partner when they're depressed or they're having high anxiety because of work. Like, how are they treating you in those spaces? That's gonna be major indicators too.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, going back to that old matchmaker, she told me that their divorce rate was about 1%, where now we are talking about 60, 70% of divorces happen.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, in your opinion, because people are more educated and they don't want to tolerate somebody else's rubbish, or it's because we don't take care of checking properly whom we're partnering with?
Um, the latter. I would say taking more consideration in who we're dating, paying attention to those red or white flags, is definitely important. Getting to know that partner, like I said, in and out, right? And if a person is not allowing you to see parts of them, especially after being in it for a while and being committed, right? Making sure that both of you guys are committed to the same thing. If you're not committed to the same thing and you're having issues and this person is not even, they won't even acknowledge that you're having some type of response. It's probably not the partner for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a tendency of when you recognize there is a problem and you speak out and you say, "Oh, you're nuts, you're crazy." The person's response normally, "Oh, that's you who's crazy." Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, denial of condition which most probably is known to the person that it belongs to.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very difficult question, and your expertise is amazing. And the more I learn about it, the more there is to learn. Um, but I would love to hear, if it's possible, without naming people, some success stories of your patients that you can share with us.
Yeah. I this one particular person came into mind because I've been working with her over a year and a half now. When she originally came to me, you saw the depression kind of like in its full form right in front of you. And as she's been continuing to do the work, so looking at her introspection and within herself, right, getting back to the things that she loves to do, and how that whole process, because this was a person who couldn't clean her house after a certain point, like her anxiety and depression had gotten so bad that she didn't want to do anything, right? So we start feeling like I don't even have an interest in doing the things that I like. So her interests are changing. Some of the old interests are coming back. And it's really exciting to watch as she's continuing to explore herself. And I think when we talk about relationships, that's why I say, like, I believe that that's the biggest part that we can do for our relationship with someone else is be in preparation by getting ourselves prepared. If we are not prepared, everybody I am one of those believers. Everybody comes with some type of trauma, right? And and you may have had, horrific trauma, or you may just had some childhood trauma, depending on how you look at it, or recent trauma. It whatever the case is, it deserves to have some attention put to it, right? But yeah, I've had many of clients, and the main thing that I can say about them, in the work that they do, they actually do the homework, right? So we talk about the skill in session, and they take that skill home and they do it and they return back with their result. And we talk about the results. And if it didn't work out so good for them, we talk about what they can do differently the next time and how to, navigate it to something that they're going to want to do for themselves. A lot of therapists, I don't like the cookie cutter sheet. Everybody gets the same type of treatment. Everybody is different. So it really involves having a conversation with those clients and seeing what it is even that you want to do.
Right. So, going back to the homework, according to our expert, if a person is scared of the post-traumatic relationships, and it prevents that person from building new successful loving relationship. Number one, you need to make sure that you are checked yourself, that you dealt with your mental issues, your own mental issues first, and you're free of those. And in case if you find it difficult to do it on your own, then you need to reach out to Xiomoria or other specialists that is closer to your location to get more personalized advice. But on the other hand, I do remember that Xiomoria actually practices online health sections with clients from all over the world. And her link will be displayed on our website, so you can easily find her. Well, I would love to talk to you more about these issues, Xiomoria, but unfortunately our time is up. And on behalf of our viewers and myself, I would like to thank you for your time, expertise, and the information that you shared with us today.
Thank you so much. And if anybody has any other questions or concerns or just wants to talk, feel free to give me a ring.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss any of the new episodes. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions, please put them below the video. I do read them. If you are looking for a good, reliable source of specific ingredients, experts, services, or products, click on the resources link under this video. To health, long life, and pleasures.